What is to be done? It's one of the major questions of philosophy, of being in the world, in fact. What indeed is to be done? Wherever we look, that question raises its head. It lands like a bird of summer on our opened lips. It asks us to think the most deeply about the situation in which we find ourselves, to plot a course of direction, a kind of direction of travel indeed, towards some kind of possible answer, a possible future. What is to be done? I've been thinking about that question and indeed its possible answer during the course of the current lockdown exit. That sounds slightly too formal, perhaps a description of what's been happening locally here in the East London area. Exit would suggest some kind of direction of travel indeed, from a space to another space. Rather, what we've seen is a mass adoption of any open space one can find. Grassy, ideally of course, if not concrete, will suffice. What is to be done about such a scale shift in the nature of being outside? That's a question I can't answer. All I would like to say is that it's nothing to do with me. It's not my fault. Even if I am out contributing to that number, I would like to squarely place the blame elsewhere on other people. Now, this is the strategy that's often been deployed in philosophical terms. People would make their case, of course, in various realms of the thinking art, and having made that case, they would then blame others for anything that got in the way of that case being undeniably true. In that sense, the question perhaps we should be asking is not what is to be done, but what is to be, which of course is a much larger and much deeper question even than to be done. My name is Gareth Evans, and I am the host, the fellow traveller, if you like, of LRB Screen at Home, a newish initiative from the London Review of Books and the London Review Bookshop, both august organisations with much time in the world, bringing the good news on all fronts to those of us who are fortunate enough to encounter them. This Screen initiative consists of you, the audience, watching a film in the week before a conversation with the maker of the film, which we conduct on the London Review Bookshop's YouTube channel at 7 p.m. BST. That's currently British Summer Time. The films are free to view globally. We absolutely encourage all of you, wherever you might find yourself, to watch the film and to join us in conversation, where you can contribute via the YouTube comments option directly into the event as it unfolds at 7 p.m. on the Wednesday, as mentioned. Now, we're delighted this week to bring these philosophical questions right to the fore of our programming policy, because we are showing one of an extraordinary series of films made by the cultural theorist, the curator Adrian Heathfield, and the photographer and filmmaker Hugo Glendinning. Over the years, they've made a number of films with philosophers, with living great thinkers. And the film we're going to show is called Transfigured Night, and it's a beautiful document. It's a luminous document of time spent with Alfonso Linguist, the great philosopher of embodied being in the world, I think one could possibly say, in his home near Baltimore, where Adrian Heathfield spends some time in this remarkable house, in this remarkable space of the mind that is Alfonso Linguist's way of thinking about the world. We're delighted to show this film, which is about place work. It's about the work and the being of thinking. It's very hard on film to show thinking in action, not to show the results of thought, of course. That can be quite easy. To show the text of thought, that can also be not so much of a challenge. But to show thinking in action is much, much harder. And this wonderful film, this beautiful documentary essay of such thought in action, is what we're very proud and pleased to be showing this week. Transfigured Night will be available in all the usual ways that you know. You sign up to the newsletter on Thursday. You shall receive the access to the film in question, and you watch it if you would like to, and we do hope you would like to, over the days that follow, until the conversation on Wednesday at 7 o'clock, as mentioned. Now, in the time in which we find ourselves, thought and how thought can operate in the world is really central to our way forward out of this situation into the future, whatever form that future might take. We don't know, of course. We think about this. We find the right place in the house to consider these questions as seriously as we can. Now, different people, of course, and indeed different creatures, consider their place in the world in different ways. Some will step back, of course, and just watch the world go past, knowing that at some point all of it will indeed pass in front of their very eyes, their sensations, their senses, and their perception. This is the idea of being the still point of the turning world, and knowing that just by being for long enough, you would encounter all of experience. Others, of course, go out and find their way into the world and draw it in as they go, if you like a great net of experience, which they will then obviously pull behind them, accumulating as they go through their life, the relationship between time and experience, which of course is called a life. I've found different ways to deal with these questions at different times of my own experience on this planet. And I am pleased to know, having learnt a little bit about how to be in the world, that I think the best way, indeed arguably the only way, obviously, to consider these major questions is to take the time to do them. Now, this might obviously involve reclining in a comfortable position on a chaise longue, a divan, or even the hard ground, if that is your obviously declared and priority choice of location. But the crucial thing is to consider is to allow time and space to meet in your perceptual equilibrium, shall we say, and from that point to think exactly about what is of importance to you, is a priority in your life. And the priority for me now is to actually get to the end of this introduction without any more distraction and off-piece activity, which I think I'm very close to doing. And so I welcome you in advance to the event in question. I thank you for your attention now. I wish you a very good day wherever this introduction may find you. I thank you for supporting the LRB and the London Review Bookshop. And really, it only is left for me to say, please join us for Transfigured Night next Wednesday, having watched the film in advance. Thank you very much for your attention, and good day.